Rotations. All right, a rotation is a transformation that turns a figure around a fixed point. That fixed point is called the center of rotation. A rotation, once again, is an isometry. So the image of a rotated figure is what? Congruent to the pre-image. In a rotation, each point and its image are, what do you think? Equidistant. Good. So, a lot of the same stuff from reflections and translations. All right, we got some other rules for rotations. Okay, so the coordinate rules for rotation. We do basic ones. We don't go too elaborate whenever we're on the coordinate grid. Not like our constructions. With the constructions, we could create any angle of rotation. With the coordinate grid, we're a little bit more limited without using the protractor. Okay, so here are our rules. We will do a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation about the origin. That rule takes xy and transforms it to opposite of y, comma, x. So a 90-degree counterclockwise would move you one quadrant to your left. Okay. A 180 is going to be kind of like exact opposite in the opposite quadrant. So a 180 is going to be opposite of x and opposite of y. So you're just doing the opposite, doing a full flip 180. And then we also have a 90 degrees clockwise rotation. So a 90 degrees clockwise rotation would be y, comma, opposite of x. Okay, just as advised here, so we have a 90-degree counterclockwise. Okay, so that's going to your left, but we could also get there by going how many degrees clockwise? 270, good. So a 90-degree clockwise can also be called a 270-degree clockwise. Okay, 180 is the exact same degree either direction you go, so that's why we don't have direction on 180. So then a 90-degree clockwise to the right would be how many degrees counterclockwise? 270. So we can also call this a 270-degree counterclockwise rotation. Okay, so you need to be able to identify the rotation as a 90 or a 270 in the correct direction. All right. Rotate segment ST 90 degrees clockwise about the origin. So let's plot the segment. 2, 1. 3, -3. So there's our segment. It wants us to write our coordinate rule. So a 90-degree clockwise, x comma y transforms to what? What was the rule above for 90 degrees clockwise?
Y negative x.
Y comma opposite of x. Okay. So the vertices here would be, it's a lot easier to just, because you're not going to get a protractor, I don't think, on this part, but you will have patty paper to make sure that you rotate correctly if you need help copying to make sure you did it correctly. Okay, so the vertices, if we started at 2, 1, so S is 2, 1, what would S prime be if we apply the rule? 1, negative 2. And T is 3, negative 3. Apply the rule, what would T prime be? Negative 3, negative 3. Opposite of X.
It's not located around 0, 0. Would it still work?
No, we'll go over those in a minute. All right, so let's plot those points. 1, negative 2. There's S prime. And negative 3, negative 3. There's T prime. So once again, we said a 90-degree moved us one quadrant in whichever direction we were supposed to be moving. So starting S in quadrant 1, 90-degree clockwise, S should have ended up in quadrant 2. T should have ended up in quadrant 3. Okay? So once again, you can take patty paper. Okay? You can put it up here. Trace ST. Hold your finger at the origin. Okay? And then rotate it until it's 90 degrees. And then you would get that S prime T prime. Any questions there? Okay. Alrighty. Okay, we're going to do a full triangle. Triangle JKL. So let's draw the triangle. J, 2, 2. Uh-oh. Need my color. K, 4, negative 5. And then L, negative 4, 0. All right, what's the rule for a 180? XY transforms to be what? Negative X, negative Y. So we're going to do the opposite of X, the opposite of Y. So that means 2, 2 is going to transform into negative 2, negative 2. And then K prime, 4, negative 5 transforms into negative 4, positive 5. And then L prime, negative 4, 0 transforms to positive 4, 0. Okay, I'm going to pause real quick, grab at least one piece of patty paper, and that way you can verify and help out on the next part. Alright, so the patty paper definitely helps a lot whenever you do not around the origin. Okay, the origin's really easy with the rule. The patty paper can help you without the origin as your center. So it says rotate the given triangle 180 degrees clockwise about the point 3, negative 2. So 3, negative 2 is right here. Okay, so that's our point P, that's our center of rotation. Okay, so what I would do with the patty paper, I'll teach you this way first. Put the patty paper down. Okay, you need to trace everything essentially. So that means you need to trace the point P, you need to trace the triangle ABC, and you also need to trace the X and Y axis. So that way you can see what quadrants are where. once you get all that traced, okay, a direct 180 would mean that if you trace this correctly, this x, whenever you rotate it, is going to be over here, correct? It's going to be opposite of it and match up with the x-axis on the other side. And this y is going to be over here, and it's going to match up along the bottom. So if you go ahead and hold your finger on point P, rotate your patty paper until your x's and y axis match up again, then you should have it correct. Alright, sorry, I did 2 turns, or 3 turns, not 2 turns. So x should end up here, correct? And y should end up over here?
What?
Yeah. Okay, approximately. Okay.
Can we draw that?
Yes, so now write down your points. So whenever you rotate it, write down your points over here, the vertices. So look at your picture. Where is it rotated to? Write down the ordered pairs for each of those points on the vertice line. Alright, so that's how you do it with patty paper. Very simple with patty paper. How you do it without the patty paper. Okay, so the actual mathematical way with the rule is what I'm going to teach you up here. So a 180 degrees clockwise, its rule was opposite of x, opposite of y, correct? Yes? Yeah. Okay, so what you're going to do is you would take down the vertices of A, B, and C. So A is at 3, 1. B is at -1, 1. C is at oops, that's not right. Erase that. This is the step I forgot. Alright, so whenever you are around the origin, you're around a different point, you make that point your new origin, because this is where you rotate around. Okay, so now you can see it as in 4 quadrants of what you should be rotating to. That's why I got my x's and y axis mixed up a second ago. Alright, so A, according to the point where we are rotating around, that origin, A is at 0, 3. B, according to this origin, is at -4, 3. And C is at -4, 0. Okay, so you would draw your origin, a new x and y axis, and then you apply your rule. So opposite of x, opposite of y would be 0, -3, 4, -3, and 4, 0. So then you plot those points on the origin, on the new origin P. So 0, -3, 4, -3, and 4, 0. So, whoops. So, if we did this right, that's what your picture should have looked like with the patty paper, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, you can get there by doing a new origin, but then your ordered pairs that you write down should match what you wrote down with the patty paper. So, you have to go and write your ordered pairs down from the original origin. So A prime from the actual origin here is 3, -5. Did everybody get that for their A prime? Okay. And then B prime What'd you guys get?
7, -5.
7, -5. And then C prime, 7, -2. Okay? Any questions there?
I was confused why you put the origins right there. It's because that's what's 45?
Yeah, so this blue is your original origin. That's where we started the graph at. P is where we want to rotate though. So that's this point here. So this becomes our like new origin where we hold the patty paper down and rotate it.
Oh, so you just made the 4 quadrants on there?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So our new point, our new origin is 4, 1 here. So whenever you do this, point P, you can put your patty paper down. Okay. And you can trace your X and Y axis and then rotate it. So this one's 90 degrees counterclockwise. So which rule was that? 90 degrees counterclockwise.
-y.
Opposite of Y, X. So whenever you rotate your patty paper, where should your triangle end up? If it's 90 degrees counterclockwise. Right, in quadrant 4. So it should end up over here. Okay, so do that. Write down your ordered pairs. And then we can check to make sure that these are the same. So A is at, according to the new origin, 2, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B is at -3, -1. C is at -10, -7. And then you apply the rule. So that would be 5, 2, 1, -3, and 7, -10. So if I graph those according to my new origin, I should get the same picture that you guys got on your patty paper. So 5, 2.
Sorry for the interruption. Bus 101 that is normally late is here on time. If you are not used to going straight outside, make sure you're on that bus by 3:45. Bus 101 is here.
Alright, I think that should be right. Is that where you guys got your triangle to be? Does that look correct? Alright. Hey, you guys want to give me those points really quick? Where's A prime? 9, 3?
Yep. -2.
And C prime?
11 -9.
Alright, we'll continue tomorrow.